Is your small business growing? That's the question we address right here on the Grow Your Biz Show. It's where we interview strategic entrepreneurs who inform and inspire you on your solopreneur or small company journey. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Grow Your Biz Show. Do you have a loved one who is suffering from a serious illness and maybe starting their end-of-life journey? If so, you're in the right place. You need to sit tight because today's episode of the Grow Your Biz Show is just for you. Hi, I'm Paul Madsen, host of the program, founder of growmedia.com, and author of Men Grieve Too. I am so excited about today's program because of the guests that we have today. With us in studio, we have Heather Holmes. Heather,
good to
welcome.
See you, Paul. Thank you.
And Nicole Donnellon. Welcome, Nicole. These two are from the company called Endless Journey Hospice. And Endless Journey Hospice is a leading hospice provider here in Omaha, Nebraska, and we're going to learn a whole lot more about that. Heather, I'm going to jump right in and ask you the question.
Absolutely.
What business is Endless Journey in?
I'm so glad you asked me because I really thought this through and asked our team as well. And we're really in the business of life because in life it's about love. And our business is all about love, even at the end of life.
Wow, your business is about life and love. That's a pretty big category.
Yeah.
But it's the category, isn't it?
Right.
The most important things that are out there. Nicole, tell us what that means. When you talk about being in the business of love, who is that for? What does that mean?
It encompasses everyone that we touch. So people think of hospice as a company that really is a professional in death and the dying experience. But with us, it's very much about choice. It's very much about people getting that amazing experience as they're starting their journey towards their end of life. And it's just making sure that we're focusing on the things that matter the most to them.
Okay, well, that says it well. So, in case there's a viewer who doesn't really know what hospice is, and not everybody does, Heather, tell us a little bit more what hospice really is.
And I want to pitch this to Nicole because she's really more the expert in that area, and I think she'll be really good at answering that for you.
Fine.
The easiest explanation is that it is a change of focus. It's a change of focus from curative treatment to just really wanting to have a great end-of-life experience, to focus on quality and comfort. And again, it's just making sure that that person has the best end-of-life experience that they can because we only get one shot at it.
Yeah.
I guess I never thought about that. You only get one shot at death. And you help people to go out with dignity and love and support. I know this for a fact because I've had 3 members of my family go through hospice in the not too distant past. And so I understand completely. Endless Journey, great name. Tell me about the name, either one of you.
It was Melanie's thing. Melanie was all about the fact that love follows you throughout your entire life. She's a firm believer that love is the one thing that you can take with you when you go. It's something that people experience here on earth for you until they are around. I mean, it's kind of like I don't know. It's an endless journey in the fact that your memory continues to go forward. The journey part of it is whatever you believe in, wherever you're going after you pass, and the fact that your memory lives on in the people that love you and that know you on earth.
I just love the name. I just think it's a fantastic name for what you do. In just a few seconds, tell us, either one of you, what makes Endless Journey Hospice different than other hospices?
Yeah, so I think what makes Endless Journey different is really the focus on the client choice. And so in addition to regular hospice services, Endless Journey goes above and beyond with their nonprofit side of the business and offers meals, bereavement meals, a whole holistic team, so a bunch of different holistic modalities as well to help aid in the traditional hospice services.
So over and above all the other over and above the call of duty, so to speak, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And great. Quickly, Nicole, how old is the company? Roughly how many employees?
6 years this past February. We are growing every single day. We have approximately 48 employees working for us right now.
Awesome. Sounds like a real success story in the most important business there is, and that's the business of life. And ladies, thank you for joining me for this segment of the Grow Your Biz Show, and we'll be back with more. Thanks. And welcome back to the second segment of the Grow Your Biz Show. I'm Paul Madsen, host of the program, with Nicole Donnellon and Heather Holmes of Endless Journey Hospice Care. Hospice Company, Hospice Care.
Endless Journey Hospice.
Okay, we'll get it right. Cut it off right there. Endless Journey Hospice, nothing else.
You got it.
All right, well, great. It's a wonderful success story in the hospice space, and we're going to talk in this segment a lot more about the company, the history, and a little bit more in depth of what hospice actually is. Nicole, tell us in depth, I think, about the founding of the company. You were there, I think, or
I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
Well, I was
close.
there. I was there on the outside. I actually worked for
knocking on the door, trying to get in. Is that right? Come on, let me in.
Eventually, it did end up that way. I actually worked for a competing hospice company, a corporate hospice company,
Okay.
For many years. Grew into a position that taught me all about hospice, and it was one of the reasons that I really just loved to work in the industry. And I worked with a very close friend of mine, and the two of us saw Endless Journey coming out of nowhere, and we were losing accounts to them, and we were trying to figure out why that was happening. And the more I got to know about the program, the more I got to know the people that were running it, the more impassioned I felt about wanting to be a part of it. Hospice in the corporate world is very different from hospice in the local.
Well, I heard you say that word. I worked for a corporate hospice.
Yes.
And I have been to the offices of Endless Journey. I've met several people at the company, and and the name itself is unique, I think. What's the difference between corporate hospice and Endless Journey? Heather, do you want to speak to that, or should Nicole?
Well, let Nicole take
Right,
the first blush
All
at
right.
it.
Okay, so corporate hospice has blanket rules. A lot of times they have a hub where most of the rules come out of. So for example, maybe it's a national company or they have multiple locations in multiple states. They'll have that one hub that kind of makes the rules for everyone. And it doesn't matter if you live in California, New York, or the Midwest, all of the rules apply equally across the board. So they don't take into account that there's culture differences. And I know that we're all part of the United States, but we all have different cultures based on where in the United States that we live. So sometimes what might work on the East or West Coast doesn't necessarily apply to the Midwest. So that's one of the key differences.
Is that what you mean by hub? I mean, what is a hub? Is that
like a corporate head office?
Okay, okay.
I think another big piece too is we have the ability to pivot quickly
Yes.
and make decisions that matter to our clients. So if a client needs help in a specific area, we don't have to check in with 5 levels of corporate, heads before we make a decision. We can pivot quick and make sure our clients are getting what they really need at the end of life.
We just walk 5 doors down to ask the boss.
Yeah. Hey, how about this?
Right.
You don't have to dig through the
Right.
manuals and page 27 or page
Right.
98 or whatever.
Or send an email and wait 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So very responsive. And in your business, the business of life and death, I think responsiveness
Absolutely.
would make a difference, right?
Yes.
And that's something Endless Journey does really, really well, is we'll admit right away. We don't wait, we can move quick and get people on service if it is that emergent.
I mean, that brings up a very good point. I mean, what is my process? Let's say a loved one is diagnosed with cancer and things are bleak. How and when does hospice get involved, and how does EJ take it from there?
Well, hopefully you have some really great supporters in your medical world that are propositioning hospice early on. The earlier you get into hospice, the more benefit you get from it. For most people, a hospice benefit is covered at 100% by your insurance company, so it's no additional cost, but it's all these great services that fill in the gaps of care, whether you're at home, in a nursing home, in an assisted living, wherever you are. Hospice comes in and just kind of helps to be the outside of the big group hug of your support group. So
I love that, the big group hug.
The big group hug.
Big group hug of
Yeah.
support group. Well, actually, my father-in-law was a customer. Did you call it client, customer?
Client,
What's the
client.
word? Client. I was visiting him and his wife at their nursing home, and in walks, and I had relationship with Endless Journey already, and in walks a caregiver, and Endless Journey is what it said, and so that was kind of surprising to me. And we went and chatted quite a bit about that. So my point is, I felt that group hug. That's a great line. Group hug, the big group hug as you're near the end of life. So back to the history. You were knocking on the door. The company started, I believe, 6 years ago. Was that right?
6 years ago with a notebook and a dream in the basement of our owner's house.
Okay, yellow pad, right?
Yep, that's basically what it was. Yeah, very much so. She had a couple of people that she pulled in that started this amazing company with the idea that they wanted it to be non-corporate. They wanted it to be about client choice and the importance of people being able to make decisions that made them comfortable and happy in their end-of-life journey. And that includes the supporting people in their lives. So not just for the client, but also for the family. And how could we best support them without having to have corporate overhead?
Yeah, well, I mean, and I'll personalize it again. When my father-in-law died, and I call it in my book, Men Grieve Too, I call it the calm after the storm. You've all been through deaths, and there's always the gather the pictures, make the video, plan the funeral service, make arrangements for the relatives who are coming in, and all that stuff, and then there's the visitation, and then there's the funeral, and then there's the burial, and then there's the visitation of people afterwards and hanging out, and then what happens? Everything stops.
Right.
Or most things stop.
Right, it gets quiet again.
It gets real quiet, and then, but guess what? Endless Journey, this is something pretty simple, provided one of the best lasagna meals I've ever had.
Paul, we've had a lasagna.
You've had a lasagna.
Good. I mean, no, but that matters.
Well, provided this great meal, and all the relatives were still around, and guess what? Nobody had to go grocery shopping and make food and clutter up a kitchen and make plans and arrangements, and we just had it right there at the nursing home in a big room there. And like I said, those stays in my mind.
Good. Yeah.
That was good stuff. At any rate, just that part of that big group hug.
Yeah. And we do those bereavement meals, but we also, while someone's on service, if they're in their home, they'll get 2 family-style meals a week.
Okay.
So families can be with their dying loved one and don't have to worry about cooking. Because isn't that like not American, but like a human thing, is that community gathering around food, that nurturing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a little thing, but it was just I made a note, mental note. I just thought that was really, it wasn't just me talking about a business on TV or something. It was my family, and I'm sitting there with them enjoying this meal, and it just made a real difference. And it's
actually based on tradition.
Oh, really?
It's based on tradition of before we got so busy. Families used to gather, and they used to have these moments of reminiscing and talking about whomever your loved one was that passed. It's for me, it's my grandfather. We sat down and we talked about all the memories, the funny stories, the things that were sad about it, the things you were happy about. And so just being able to do that without having to worry about the logistics of it, just bringing it together and having someone,
Beautiful.
Hey, here's a meal, sit down and talk about it, and don't worry about the stressors of the world for an hour.
Is that somewhat unique to Endless Journey, that tradition?
As far as I know in this area, no other hospice company does that.
Oh, wow. Well, we picked the right one, and even though I had nothing to do with it. I was surprised to see the logo. And so you mentioned your grandfather. I think he was influential, his story to you about getting into this business. You want to tell that story?
When I was 15 years old, I started working for a nursing home as basically a paid candy striper. I was a CNA assistant. I did all the dirty jobs that nobody liked to do, the laundry.
CNA assistant.
A CNA assistant.
Now, you talk about dirty jobs. I know the CNA has a dirty job.
Yeah.
The CNA assistant really has a dirty job.
So all the jobs the CNA didn't want to do that weren't pertinent to the client was my job. So I emptied bedpans, and I filled water cups, and I did laundry and changed bedding. And I loved that job, and I worked that job all through high school. One of my kids is actually named for one of the residents that was influential in my life. So I just knew in that moment that I was meant to be in senior living. And when I had shared that with my grandfather, who supported me in everything that I ever did. He said, "Great, when you get your degree in old people, you can take care of me." And it was like this joke that he had with me. And
your degree in old people.
A degree in old people is what he called it. But unfortunately, I never got to take care of him. He died early on from a very bad situation. And I got to work with the most amazing hospice team up in Michigan who was taking care of him. And I knew that I wanted to work with the aging population, but it wasn't specific to hospice until he passed 12 years ago.
Okay.
So hospice has been my passion ever since then, just watching them care for them and the way that they cared for me, even though I wasn't the person going through it.
Wow.
It was just, how can we help you? And then afterwards, the bereavement care that they put into making sure that the family was okay and that we were dealing with it. Because when you have someone who's raised you like a father,
well,
it's hard.
Well, that's inspirational and motivational for you to get in the field. How about you, Heather? How did you end up in this racket?
Yeah, so I always say senior living and older adults chose me. It's my dharma.
There you go.
In high school, I volunteered at a nursing home, and I would paint nails. And I fell in love with this woman named Alice. And I went back and saw her through high school, all through college, and I chose recreational therapy as my undergrad degree because I said, if I want to work in a nursing home and paint nails for the rest of my life, what degree do I want to get? And
you have to have a degree to paint nails.
Apparently. And recreational therapy
Probably
is
a master's,
recreational therapy is so much more than that. You know, it's recreation, leisure, choice. But that Alice was really that one special person in my life that put me on this whole trajectory. And so then I've been in senior living for 20 plus years, and I love the development side and the growth, and Endless Journey just does a great job with the hospice.
What roles have you had leading up to present ones? What kind of jobs within senior living?
Yeah, absolutely. So with recreational therapy, it's been like activity director, you know, lifestyle and wellness director. I am an executive director. So in assisted living, I've opened a few different communities.
So that's kind of your
that development
role.
Startup phase of senior living.
So I can see with the fast growth that EJ has, why they'd want you to be part of that growth and help the story to continue to unfold, right?
Yeah, I feel so fortunate to be on the team.
That's terrific. Before we get out of this segment, I wanted to mention that you have a gala coming up. And what is the purpose of this gala, either one of you?
The purpose of the gala is to fill the bucket of the nonprofit.
Absolutely.
So Medicare pays us for the main services just like every other hospice company, but all of the little extras that we provide, that's provided out of our nonprofit. We have never sent a bill to a single one of our Endless Journey clients, and part of that is because the nonprofit helps to pay for things like people who can't afford hospice because they don't have insurance. Those meal programs that we were talking about, the holistic programming that we were talking about. But most importantly, our goal is to build a hospice house. Omaha has the most amazing hospice house, but it's only a 26 hospice house bed. I mean, it's only got 26 beds. So even if they turned over every single bed every single day, they wouldn't be able to help everyone that needs to be helped.
I understand there's 10,000 people that die in the metro area each year, and I mean, in this bed of this hospice house of 26, I'm very familiar with that because actually that's where my wife passed, and so I am your story. I am understanding loud and clear just what it is, the need is out there. They did a terrific job. They're fantastic, and I'd recommend them. And I also understand the need for more.
Absolutely. And we want to make sure that it extends to people regardless of their background, regardless of their belief system, how much money they have in their pocket or how much they don't. We want to be able to serve everyone and to allow them to have that dignity in dying that every single human being deserves.
That's a fantastic mission. That's a fantastic mission. Tell us briefly about the agenda for the gala. Gala or gala?
Either everyone has it's base or bas, right? Tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato.
But the gala is
I like tomatoes.
It's on April 21st at the DC Center. And we'll have a keynote speaker that night, a live auction, fun wine pulls, a big dessert dash. What am I missing, Nicole?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. We've packed a lot of things into a good 2-hour portion.
I've heard you have a really good speaker
An
coming.
Amazing keynote speaker that we're so excited to have.
Who would that be?
Someone on maybe right over here.
Oh,
little plug if you like.
It is my honor and my calling. I take it as my calling to be part of this event, and I'm so thrilled and thank you all for the invitation there. So, anything else about the history of the company before we move on?
Something that we should probably bring up is that we are one of the only hospice companies in the Omaha Metro that caters to pediatric population as well. Not a lot of people really like to think about kids dying or kids being terminally ill, but that is something that we are passionate about as well. So our hospice company caters everyone from birth to death, regardless of what their age is.
The pediatric side of it is somewhat overlooked sometimes.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, there are kids with cancer. There's all sorts of stories out there, I'm
And
sure.
we're privileged to be a part of their journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a really strong foundation in supporting veterans as well
Oh, wow.
at end of
Okay.
life.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we have a full veterans program and
Wow.
volunteer program
Oh, that's
that's
fantastic.
just
Yeah, we're the
Booming.
only We Honor Vets level 5 in the state of Nebraska.
Yep.
And we were the first.
So what does that mean?
We Honor Veterans is an amazing program that really hones in on not just honoring veterans for their service, but also in the training of the staff that are taking care of them. So for example, providing care for someone who is of the Vietnam era would be very different from serving someone who is part of some of the more recent encounters that we've been going through. So it's just catering to their specific need, whether it's post-traumatic stress or with the Vietnam veterans. Kelly, our the person who's in charge of this program, is going to be so proud of me for bringing this up, but the fact that they weren't welcomed home.
Right.
So making sure that we're using the correct verbiage and we're really paying attention to the things that are important to them. So veterans are a big piece of what we do, as you know, because Omaha Metro is big on serving veterans because of
Yeah.
Offutt Air Force Base.
I think we all need to be cognizant of that. I am of that, almost that age, the Vietnam veteran age. I was just a little young, so I didn't I wasn't part of that draft and all that, but I just think it's wonderful that your company is doing that. I just the other day saw a guy with a Vietnam veteran hat on, and I wasn't part of the not welcoming them back part, but I heard about it, read about it, saw things, and I just said, thank you for your service. You know that, and Endless Journey is thanking them for their service.
absolutely
100%.
Yes.
So that's that's a history lesson right there in itself. So, Endless Journey Hospice, growing dynamic company here in Omaha that serves end-of-life needs for from birth to death, ages wise, and a great historic story. I hope you check it out. EndlessJourneyHospice.com, right?
Yep.
You got it.
All right. Thanks for joining us on this segment, and we'll be back with another segment right away soon. And we're back with segment 3 of the Grow Your Biz Show. I'm Paul Madsen, and with me are Nicole and Heather from Endless Journey Hospice right here in Omaha. And talk about Grow Your Biz Show, Grow Your Biz. It's a very dynamic and growing biz in the hospice space, in the end of life. And why is that, Nicole? Why is the company growing so fast?
I think it's because we take a different approach. We really optimize on choice. If there is a way that we can give someone something that will help them to have a really great end-of-life experience, then we're going to do everything that we can. Sometimes that means giving them or letting them stay on a medication or allowing them to do a treatment for a little bit longer, talking about goals of care, really just enveloping their sense of worth and the fact that every person should have a choice in the way that they go out of the world.
Well, and I believe you have, all sorts of, it's a laundry list of services, massage and nutrition and chaplains. Talk a little bit more of those options that you provide.
Yeah, so Medicare mandates that every single hospice company provides the same 5 services, and that'd be nursing, CNAs to help with bathing, hygienic things like that, chaplains, volunteers, and social work. So those are the 5 main modalities that all hospice companies across the United States are required to provide. Endless Journey kind of kicks it up a notch with the things that we like to do that are non-pharmacological. So we're big on the holistic and homeopathic side of things. So that means offering an array of modalities that can help people from simple things like salves and I would say like creams and things, clear up to things as I don't know, like chiropractic, acupuncture.
Chiropractic. And if people are into even a deeper holistic journey, we can do healing touch, we can measure chakra and energy centers at end of life.
Wow. And so you have something to cater to most every creed or religion or just personality type even. Maybe they're a woo-woo way out there person, you're right at home with them. Or if they're a traditional
Yep.
Johnny in the pew for 90 years,
Yes.
you're good with them too.
Yes, and we have amazing instructors that teach us how to deal with these kinds of things because we want to make sure that we're respectful of all cultures and beliefs.
Sure. Well, backing up a little bit, and we may have talked about this a little bit already, but what is hospice?
Yeah. So the easiest way to talk about it is just that change of focus. Usually when you first start with a diagnosis, it's all about cure. What can I do to feel better? What kind of medications can I start? What kind of treatments can I do? When it gets to a point where those things really aren't an option, it's changing the focus from that curative care to comfort and quality of life. And how can I just be comfortable and enjoy the time that I have left?
Well, I like that phraseology, from curative care to comfort, because I saw that in my father-in-law as well, and who died recently, and not only that, but the embracing of the family, the people who were there as well. I mean, they obviously cared about everybody else. They were great to everybody else around. We've talked about the post-death meal support things and all that. So, just. When should a person consider hospice? When should they contact Endless Journey? How does that all work?
I think that you should start talking about hospice once you've accepted your terminal diagnosis. So once you've sat in front of doc and doc says, this is what's going on, even in the beginning when you're really talking about curative, it's nice to just have that backup plan. I'm a firm believer in a lot of planning.
Yep.
So what if things don't work? It's okay for you to think that, because then when that happens, or if that happens, you have people in your corner to kind of help. And sometimes that even means taking a palliative approach as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we come into the world, we have a team around us to support that, right? So as we leave this world, we need a team around us to support us too.
Yes.
Well, and I learned this from your founder, Melanie. Sitting across the table, she put a thought in my head. She said that death is one of the most spiritual things that you will encounter.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I never really thought about that, and that's absolutely right.
And it's humbling to be invited into that journey.
Well, yes,
as well.
it is. It's humbling to me to be part of your story, and it's humbling, I think, for your company to, and I've seen you at work with the hospice story and the hospice work adult. Any final thoughts, Heather?
No, just thanks for having us. It's such a pleasure to be here, and hospice really is the conversation that needs to be had much earlier in a lot of people's journey.
Great. Nicole?
I am just really grateful to be able to share our story and to be able to talk about something that I'm just so passionate about. And we're always available for more education for people.
Absolutely.
I want hospice to stop being a dirty word for people. I want them to understand that it is such an amazing program that they can benefit from.
Well, from me personally and my family, we could say that Endless Journey did that job. And so we are blessed to be part of that. This has been our time with Nicole and Heather of Endless Journey Hospice. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Grow Your Biz Show.